to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Coach, once you get seated, we'll open things up to you if you want to make some opening remarks, and then we'll open it up to questions here in the room.
First of all, did you guys want to start, Lexi or Merritt?
What?
Do you guys want to start, or you want me to?
Oh, you got it.
Okay.
All you.
Big Ten, stepping it up. This is awesome to have this. It's exciting to be here. Makes you feel special to be a volleyball coach and a part of this conference. I got to meet the new commissioner. Anyway, just thank you to the Big Ten for having all this and how we're treated here. You feel like rock stars, and I think these athletes deserve it, and it's been a long time coming, but this is really, really cool.
We'll get started with questions in the room. Over here.
Craig Combs from the Purdue Big Ten Student U. I'm going to ask the only question that really matters. How does it feel getting to play in front of 80,000 people this fall? Like how do you feel about that? How do you think it's going to feel to walk out? 90? 100. Put them on the roof. How do you guys feel about that, both you coach and the players?
Well, I'm not playing, so but a couple weeks ago, I wanted to get a feel of what it's going to feel like. So I went to Folsom Field, Dead and Company. You ever heard of them? Some of the older guys would know them. I went to their concert, and the stadium's completely sold out. The field's sold out, so you can't even move. And I just remember when they start at 6:30 at night. Most concerts start late, and they start at 6:30. So I wanted, because we're starting at 7. So I just thought this would be perfect, and just to get the feeling. And my adrenaline and goosebumps were going through the roof, and I'm just thinking trying to take what it's going to be like playing a volleyball match in Memorial Stadium where they're actually cheering for our team. And it's really hard to imagine for a volleyball match. So we're going to have to do some breathing exercises before we go out.
Yeah, you're making me nervous, Coach. I think it's going to be an amazing opportunity and experience, and I'm so honored that I'm still in college to be a part of it, because it's going to be something that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I just think I've said it earlier, but for women's sports, not just volleyball, but just women's sports in general, I think this is a huge monument for where we need to go in the right direction. And I'm just, again, super excited to be a part of it. It's going to be nerve-wracking, but I think if Husker Nation's amazing, and they are going to give us the biggest warm welcome ever. So it's going to be super exciting.
Yeah, I think they both touched on kind of all of the emotions. It's a really hard thing to grasp that many people are going to be there watching us, but at the end of the day, we're very grateful that Husker Nation is as strong as it is, and that we even have the ability to play in the football stadium. I think that's really cool, and like Lexi said, it's huge for volleyball, but women's sports in general, so for us to be a part of it is really special, and it'll be history in the making, and for us to be a part of it and to be able to play in it is really cool. Not many people get to say that they did, so.
Pete Ferry, Big Ten Plus. This question's for Lexi. Lexi, you've done such an outstanding job navigating the NIL landscape. There's not a place you can't turn where somebody can't find a t-shirt of you or you're promoting something. How have you been able to navigate that so successfully, and what advice can you give to some of your teammates that are coming in and maybe want to experience the same sort of success you've had on and off the court?
Yeah, so Nebraska has a lot of support staff that have kind of helped all of us navigate through it, and they have programs that can help you kind of figure out how to time management and just deal with all of that. And I have a great support staff that helps me also, but I think just for our newcomers, it's great opportunities. You get to brand yourself, and it helps brand our team also as well. We're trying to still continue these sellouts and still have Husker Nation following us around the world. And I think that NIL is allowing us to even build connections and build relationships with some of those people who have always supported us. So I think it's a really cool opportunity, and I think if younger girls who are coming into college want to jump on that opportunity, I think it's great. And when you see a little girl with your name on her shirt, like, it's a really great feeling. So, yeah.
Michael McCleary, the Wisconsin State Journal. John, obviously, as far as attendance record goes, you've kind of been going back and forth with Wisconsin over the past couple seasons. Back, over a little over 20 years ago when you left the school, could you have imagined that you'd be fighting for records of this magnitude and, these types of records to begin with?
Well, not of this magnitude, but I remember I don't remember what year it was, maybe 94, 95. We were playing Penn State. They were number one, undefeated at the time. And I told our administration, like, guys, we're going to pack the field house. And they had 2 people taking tickets. And, of course, we actually beat Penn State. Great match. I think there was 8,000 in there. But a lot of people were disappointed because they didn't want to wait in line that long or got turned away. So that was the first glimpse of you create something really big and special, people will come and see it. And I think the competition between Nebraska and Wisconsin, or whoever else wants to try to hold these attendance records, this is great for volleyball. It's what makes the world go around, and people love that, and that's why they tune into ESPN and Big Ten and all, follow sports. And we're trying to take it so we can keep it, and we don't have to go back and forth with anybody.
If they do beat it, though, where's the next biggest venue?
Well, I don't think Camp Randall's going to seat 90,000. So I don't know. I mean, I think we're going to be on a world record here. So, and again, I didn't think any of this was going to happen. I was thinking if we could get 20,000, we'd be happy. And President Carter and our AD Trev Alberts, they believed we would sell out Memorial Stadium because it's been sold out in every event there since the 60s. I don't remember exact year. It's been sold out, and like President Carter said, we've sold out every time since whatever year in 1960s, and we're going to sell it out for this, and he was right.
Erin Sorens from the Hale Varsity. This is for all 3 of you, but we can start with Coach. In addition, we're talking a lot about Volleyball Day at Nebraska, but when we're talking about growing the sport, not only just in the Big Ten, but beyond, Fox and BTN announced a whole slew of game coverage today, which is going to include the first time ever that women's volleyball will precede and follow NFL games on television. Can you just speak to what it means to the sport? We've talked a lot in the past about if they see it, they will become fans, they will follow it, they will support it, but having that exposure where people will now see Big Ten volleyball following their NFL games.
Yeah, I just was up in the Big Ten studio, and Rick made an interesting comment to me. He said he thinks volleyball is the most fun spectator sport to watch now because it's so fast, it's happening so fast, the games go by, and there's always action, and you got these great athletes playing a very highly skilled game, and I think he's right. And you just see the ratings keep going, and the talent level gets better and better. There's so many great teams all across the country now, and people are into it. And I see it at the younger ages at the club tournaments. I mean, I was just in Chicago last month. I mean, there's 104 courts going on in the convention center. 104 courts going. 8 to 2 wave and a 2 to 9 o'clock at night wave. I mean, just think how many kids are playing. And so volleyball is booming now, and it's going to be interesting because I know we're going to play Sunday night at 6:30 a couple Sundays, and that's going to be interesting, but it could be a really cool TV time.
Matt Foster, KUTV Omaha. John, this one for you. Nebraska picked to finish second in the preseason poll. Over the years that you've been here, how much harder has it gotten to win this conference?
Well, Bobby Knight said it way back. Winning the Big Ten is harder than winning a national championship, and I've said that many times as well. It's 10 weeks against great competition, home and away. Now that the conference is getting bigger, you used to play everybody, but now you don't play everybody twice. It's a great accomplishment to win the Big Ten, and it's really, really hard to do. And hats off to Wisconsin. They've won it the last 3 years. They've done a tremendous job, and everybody's chasing them right now.
Matt Brown from Extra Points. I'd really love to hear from Merritt and Lexi here. It's wonderful that we're all together talking about the ascendancy of women's volleyball, whether that's being games on linear television or, if I'm hearing this right, maybe playing a game in front of 11 gajillion people later this year. But so we're also in an era of very significant change in college athletics, and there's court cases that could potentially rule on the employment status of athletes and potentially organization movements elsewhere. Typically, those conversations are always from the perspective of football or basketball players, and I'm curious, given how high profile your program is, if there have been any conversations among the players at Nebraska about how some of those court cases or changing nature of the sport might impact volleyball, and what kind of perspective you would want athletes like you to have.
I don't think there's been any sort of conversation about that with us. Obviously, NIL was a huge addition for all student athletes, but females in Nebraska volleyball specifically, with the fan base that we have, it's a huge addition for us. And so I think right now the biggest things for us are just kind of getting volleyball out there, like we've been talking about, the advancements that volleyball but also women's sports has been made. I think it's obviously, we're taking very big steps forward right now, and I think we're just trying to continue on that path, but there's not been any conversations like that amongst our team. So
Thank you.
Hi guys, Lauren Michelson, KLKN TV in Lincoln. For Merritt and Lexi, having 5 freshmen on your roster and being the leaders as just juniors, how special is that, and how have the younger girls brought competition and energy to your team?
Yeah, I think these 5 freshmen are key pieces to our team, and just the competitiveness in them is just something so special that I think is very vital. Just with kind of our leadership and with how close our team is, they're gonna fit in just great.
yeah, it's an honor for sure to be chosen to be a leader of this team, and I think, like Lexi said, all 5 of them are going to play a very pivotal role in our team, and they bring a lot of energy, they bring a lot of competition, and they add a lot to our team, so that's really cool. But our entire team as a whole is a really fun group of girls to lead. We all bring tons of experiences, tons of knowledge, and things of that sort. So it could have been anyone picked as captains, from the freshmen to the juniors. It could have been anyone, and I don't think any of us would have been surprised, just because our entire team is full of natural leaders. So it just makes it even more special for us to be the leaders, but also it makes it more fun for our entire team to be able to help and provide input and things of that sort. But it's definitely an honor, and being able to be there for them is going to be really cool this spring and fall.
Abby Barmer from Husker Online. This is for all 3 of you. How important was it for you to be able to go to Brazil on an international trip, spend 16 days together, and play together, especially with 6 newcomers?
Just go ahead.
I think it was extremely important, especially like we've discussed a lot today. Just we have 5 freshmen, we have Merritt included, 6 new people on this team. It's a very young and new team, and so I think going on this trip, it was a long 17 days, but I think it got everyone kind of acclimated to what this season's going to be like, and what our team's going to be like, and how we're going to play through hard matches and everything like that. We got a lot of experiences over there in Brazil, and I think it was all beneficial for us, and ultimately it brought our chemistry a lot closer together. So I think it was really important and a great opportunity for especially this team.
It was very important for us, and it's gonna benefit us a lot this fall. I think playing a team sport, it's really about how you can fit all the pieces of the puzzle together. And I know that those 17 days helped us a ton, not only growing on the court, figuring out how people play together, things of that sort, what Lexi needs when she's maybe struggling a little bit, and vice versa, things of that sort. So on the court, obviously, it was huge for us to have a chance to play together before the fall season starts. But also off the court, just being able to get closer with one another and build those connections was also really huge. So I think it was a very good trip for us because we were able to grow on and off the court together.
Brazil's an amazing country. I would highly recommend it to go visit Brazil. It's amazing. I think it's one of the most unknown countries in the world. I've been all over the world. First time I went to Brazil, and it's a great, great country.
Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal-Star. John, this offseason there were several transfers that went from one Big Ten team to another Big Ten team. I guess what's your reaction to that, and think of players that want to transfer but stay within the league?
That's, the portal's great, and it provides, I guess opportunities. I think there's some negatives to it as well. It bothers me when somebody transfers within the conference. I feel like you train those, you invest all that time and energy, and then they turn around and go to another team, and you're going to play against them potentially twice. So as an old school coach, that part bothers me, and I don't like it.
Lincoln Arneal, Huskers Illustrated. Merritt and Lexi, it's been about a month since we talked to you post-Brazil. What has the team been up to? Did you have to take some time to get away from each other? What's been some focus on the open gyms that you have had?
Actually, we didn't take time away from each other. As soon as we got back, we started lifting again, started having open gyms, and then we started camps, and now we're gearing up to start preseason. So we've been together all summer, but it's been great for this team because, like I said, we've been able to bond in a lot of different ways. So, yeah, we just started lifting as soon as we got back, started open gyms. Then camp was a long 16 days. We were lifting and doing open gym throughout camps as well. And we get a little break this weekend before we start next week, so that'll be nice. We'll be able to kind of get a refresher before we hit the ground running. So.
John, talking about a lot of those transfers are fifth year. You have no fifth-year players, no fourth-year players on your roster. How do you kind of try to counter the experience of the other Big Ten teams you play with your youthful talent that you have?
I tell our players two things. Okay, there's two things you remember in this whole press conference day. You can write these down. They're simple. One, volleyball doesn't know how old you are, so the game does not know how old you are. The second thing is, if a dog's going to bite, it's going to bite as a pup. So these guys need to be ready to come out and get after it. And I think they have the mindset. And from the youngest, get this, Maggie Mendelson's the youngest player on our team. And she's already been here a year. It's nuts. But we're going to be young and aggressive, and these guys are going to be fearless. And it's going to be fun to watch.
Jacob Badilla, Hill Varsity. You mentioned that you don't have any seniors. You have 5 juniors, 2 captains here. What's the next step for the other juniors, Lindsay, Allie, and Kennedy, on and off the court as they transition into being upperclassmen for this program?
Well, I think Merritt said it great. She's leading a group of leaders, and it's a tremendous group, and I think almost anybody in our team could or will be a captain at some point. And those guys are going to be the older players in our team, and they have to show these guys, which they've been doing all summer and in Brazil, what it's going to take. And I think they've done a tremendous job, and they've been through the wars, and so they're the ones that, like I said, are going to have to show the way.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask this, I think. What was the best thing you ate in Brazil? Guessing that Lincoln, Nebraska, and major metropolitan areas of Brazil, pretty different places.
I don't remember. I tried a lot of different food. I remember I really liked, I don't know which place we were at. We went to a lot of restaurants, but I had squid for the first time, and I actually really liked it, and it was really good. But the food over there is amazing, and when we actually got to have like meals prepared for us from like just big restaurants in Brazil, I thought it was actually amazing. So I wish we had food like that over here, but that's okay.
Yeah, like Lexi said, we ate at a ton of different restaurants, and I don't think anyone complained about any of them that we were at. They were all so good. Just the food as a whole over there was amazing, and it was a cool opportunity, obviously, for volleyball and things like that, but also as a foodie, you get to explore and get outside, and so we were able to try a bunch of new things. I didn't try the squid, so I left that one up to Lexi, but the one thing I do remember is one of our staff members that was with us ate tongue one night for dinner. I didn't try that either. I left that up to her, but she said it was pretty good, so, but all of the food as a whole was really good, and it was a very cool experience.
Lexi, I know when you and the rest of the juniors came in, you were part of a #1 recruiting class. You bring in the #1 recruiting class. What's your kind of worded advice to that group about the pressure that maybe comes with that? Not just the #1 recruiting class, but being the #1 recruiting class at a program like Nebraska.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of pressure, especially at this level and at a program like Nebraska. But I think just going into every game, and especially like their first season at Nebraska, just having no expectations. I think as a class, when I was a freshman, we kind of had that mentality that like it doesn't really matter what we did in high school anymore. Like we're at a whole nother stage of our lives and our volleyball careers, and like we haven't played a lot of these people. So just kind of reminding them that like it's a fresh start. Like you have to prove yourself again as a team, as a player, and just knowing that every single game you go into, like you got to prove that you belong and that you can compete at this level. And I think just reminding them that they deserve to be here, and like they weren't the #1 recruiting class for no reason. Like they deserve it, and they just got to go out there and show it.
All right, I think that will do it. We'll wrap things up with the Huskers. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, guys.
Coming down shortly is Ohio State.